Welcome to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe and share your comments about the exciting end of the story, the Horus Heresy. Let the story begin. In the distant future, humanity thrives among the stars, forging alliances with peaceful alien races. Neo-Petra, a magnificent city built around the ancient Sphinx of Giza, stands as Earth's heart. The sky, dotted with countless space vessels, bustles with activity as traders and diplomats from various corners of the galaxy converge. Mark Saunders, a once decorated soldier, watches from a rooftop as a massive ship descends. "It's him," he mutters. His words are laced with a deep, simmering anger. Elisa, tinkering with a gleaming contraption beside him, looks up. "You sound tense, Mark." Saunders' eyes narrow. "Horus isn't the same. I can feel it." Horus, with his imposing presence, steps off the ship. "Citizens of Earth," his voice reverberates through the city, yet something sinister lingers beneath his words. The crowd cheers, oblivious to the dark aura surrounding their hero. Beside Horus stands his second-in-command, a man whose gaze sends shivers down Mark's spine. "Stay alert," Mark whispers to Elisa. She nods, tightening the screws on her invention. On the streets, whispers spread like wildfire. "Did you hear? Horus is back," a woman says excitedly. Dr. Alara, the alien scientist with shimmering blue skin, stands in the shadows observing. "We need to move quickly," she tells Mark. "Something's off." A sudden explosion rocks the city. Panic ensues. Mark draws his weapon. "We need to regroup, now." Zeke, the young hacker, rushes over, eyes wide with fear. "What's happening?" Mark's face hardens. "Horus has changed, and we need to find out why. The Resistance's journey has just begun. They must uncover the secrets hidden beneath the Sphinx before it's too late." The city of Neo-Petra still smoldered. The air filled with smoke. The ruins spoke of chaos. Mark led Elisa, Dr. Alara, and Zeke through the maze of debris. "Keep moving," he urged, his voice gruff but focused. "We need to reach the safe house." Elisa trudged beside him, her latest gadget clanking with each step. "Why do you think Horus did this?" she asked, eyes reflecting the fires around them. Mark's jaw tightened. "Something's controlling him. It's not the Horus we knew." Dr. Alara scanned the area with a handheld device, its screen flashing various alien scripts. "I sense energy signatures," she whispered to herself, then louder to the group. "We're close to uncovering something ancient." Zeke, trailing behind, adjusted his oversized glasses. "Do you think the Sphinx holds the key?" he inquired, a mix of fear and hope in his voice. Mark nodded. Dr. Alara's theory might be our only shot. As they approached the outskirts of the city, a hidden door revealed itself. Mark entered a code, and the door creaked open. Inside, the safe house was dim but secure. "This is where we plan," Mark declared. Around a table littered with maps and devices, the team gathered. Mark looked each of them in the eye. "We've lost people, friends, family, but we fight for their memory." Elisa set her gadget on the table. It emitted a soft blue glow. "My inventions will help us," she stated confidently. Dr. Alara pulled out ancient scrolls, unfurling them for all to see. "These texts speak of an artifact beneath the Sphinx," she explained. "It can sever the link controlling Horus." Zeke tapped furiously on his tablet, blueprints of the Sphinx lighting up the screen. "I've decrypted an old map. This path leads underground, directly to the artifact," he said. Mark's eyes gleamed with determination. "Then that's our mission." The team settled into silence, each member lost in thought. Outside, Neo-Petra burned. But in that hidden room, a spark of hope ignited. They would uncover the truth, and they would save Horus. Mark, Elisa, Dr. Alara, and Zeke crept through the darkened tunnels beneath Neo-Petra. Each step echoed hollowly, the atmosphere heavy with ancient secrets. "Stay close," Mark whispered, his flashlight slicing through the darkness. Elisa adjusted her goggles, their green glow illuminating glyphs on the walls. "These markings," she murmured, "they tell of battles between gods." Dr. Alara's eyes sparkled as she examined the symbols. "This confirms it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The artifact is real." Zeke's voice broke the silence, filled with wonder and dread. "If what you're saying is true, then it's been hidden here for millennia. How did we not know?" Mark pressed on, the tunnel narrowing. That's what we need to figure out, Zeke. Keep moving. Suddenly, the tunnel opened into a vast chamber. Majestic columns encrusted with alien crystals reached up to a ceiling lost in shadow. At the center stood a pedestal, bathed in an eerie light. "There it is," Alara said, her voice trembling with awe. As they approached, a deep rumble shook the chamber. Dust fell from the ceiling. "We're not alone," Elisa whispered, her hand reflexively reaching for her invention. From the shadows, Horus's second-in-command stepped out, eyes glowing with malevolent intent. "You shouldn't have come," he snarled, voice dripping with menace. Mark drew his weapon, aiming it squarely at the corrupted officer. "We're here to end this," he declared, steel in his voice. Behind him, the team braced for confrontation. The corrupted officer laughed, a chilling sound. "You think you can stop us with that? You underestimate the power of the artifact." Dr. Alara positioned herself by the pedestal, scanning it with her device. "Keep him busy," she called out. "I need time." Mark nodded. Elisa slung her gadget into firing position, ready to defend Dr. Alara. Zeke hacked into the chamber's ancient systems, hoping to find an edge. The corrupted officer raised his arm, energy crackling around him. "Prepare to be destroyed," he shouted, launching an attack. Mark dodged, rolling to the side. "Elisa, now!" he barked. Elisa fired her invention, a burst of blue energy wrapping around their enemy, slowing him down. Dr. Alara's fingers flew over her device. "Just a bit longer," she muttered. Zeke's tablet beeped. "I've found a control panel," he said, frantically typing. "It controls the chamber's defenses. Activating them now." Suddenly, beams of light erupted from the walls, targeting the corrupted officer. He howled in pain but fought on, his rage palpable. Mark seized the moment, charging forward. "For Neo-Petra!" he shouted, tackling the enemy. In a blur, punches and kicks were exchanged. Dr. Alara's device beeped. "I've connected. The artifact, it can disrupt the corruption," she exclaimed. With a final surge, Mark overpowered the corrupted officer, pinning him to the ground. "Do it, Alara!" he yelled. Dr. Alara activated the artifact, a bright light engulfing the chamber. The corrupted officer's screams echoed as the light purged the darkness from him. When the light faded, the officer lay motionless, eyes clear of malice. Mark stood, breathing heavily. "Is it over?" Zeke asked, voice shaky. "No," Mark replied, helping Dr. Alara to her feet. "But we've taken the first step. Now we save Horus." They regrouped, the weight of their mission heavier than ever. But in their hearts, a new resolve burned. They would uncover the truth, battle their greatest enemies, and save humanity from a forgotten past. The chamber lay still, silent except for the team's heavy breaths. "We need to move," Mark urged, eyes scanning the ceiling's shadows. "Horus will know we're here." Dr. Alara examined the artifact, now dormant in her hands. "This ancient device," she said, her voice tinged with awe, "it's incredibly powerful, but we need to understand its full capability." Elisa adjusted her goggles, inspecting the now clear second-in-command. "What did you feel?" she asked, her tone gentle. "The connection," he replied weakly. "It's broken, but not completely gone. He's still out there." Zeke's fingers danced over his tablet. "The sanctuary beneath the Sphinx," he said, pulling up schematics. "There's a central chamber deeper in. It's likely where Horus and the true source of corruption are." Mark nodded, leading the charge through the tunnel. "Stay alert. This won't be easy." Winding lower into the earth, the path grew narrower and more suffocating. The air felt alive with unseen energy, as if the very walls whispered secrets of ancient times. They arrived at a grand door, engraved with symbols, pulsating softly. "It's here," Dr. Alara whispered. Elisa placed her hand on the door, feeling its vibrations. "This door, it seems almost alive." Mark looked at the group, determination flashing in his eyes. "Ready?" They nodded. He pushed the door with all his might, and it creaked open, revealing a massive chamber lit by flickering torches. At the room's center stood Horus, a dark aura swirling around him. His eyes, once filled with pride and compassion, now glowed with an eerie light. "So you've come," he said, his voice echoing with otherworldly power. Mark stepped forward, brandishing the artifact. "This ends now, Horus. We'll save you." Horus laughed, a sound that chilled the blood. "Save me? No, you foolish humans. I am beyond saving." Dr. Alara activated the artifact, its light growing brighter. The energy, it feels alive, she murmured. Horus raised his hand, sending a wave of dark energy toward them. Elisa's gadget activated, forming a protective blue shield that absorbed the impact. "Keep him busy," Dr. Alara shouted. Mark and Elisa moved, flanking Horus while Zeke hacked into the room's systems to create a disruption. Mark lunged, swinging his electrified baton. Horus parried with ease, his strength overwhelming. "You think you have a chance?" Horus sneered, eyes glowing brighter. Elisa fired bursts of energy from her gadget, each shot pushing Horus back a step. "Just keep him occupied," she called to Mark. Dr. Alara chanted ancient words, the artifact glowing intensely. The air shimmered with energy, the power building around them. Zeke's tablet buzzed as he activated ancient defenses embedded in the walls. Lasers targeted Horus, their beams cutting through the darkness. Horus roared, the combined assault forcing him to his knees. "Now, Dr. Alara!" Mark shouted, fighting to keep Horus restrained. With a final surge, Dr. Alara directed the artifact's light towards Horus. The energy wrapped around him, pulsing with an intensity that seemed to shake the very foundations of the chamber. Horus screamed, his voice filled with pain and defiance. Slowly, the dark aura around him faded, replaced by a blinding, purifying light. "It's working!" Elisa shouted, her voice filled with hope. The light enveloped Horus entirely, his screams silencing. When it dimmed, he lay on the ground, eyes closed, the corruption gone. Mark knelt beside him, breathing heavily. "Horus, can you hear me?" Horus's eyes fluttered open, clear and human once more. "Mark?" he whispered, voice weak but untainted. Dr. Alara sighed with relief, clutching the artifact tightly. "We did it." In the chamber's dim light, a new hope was born. But deep inside, they knew the fight wasn't over. Forces beyond their understanding still threatened, and their victory today was just the beginning. Horus slowly sat up, the chamber's light casting soft shadows on his face. He looked at Mark, eyes clear but filled with sorrow. "I remember everything," he said, voice trembling. "The entity, it manipulated me, forced me to hurt my own people." Mark placed a reassuring hand on Horus's shoulder. "We know, and we're here to fix this." He turned to the group, all visibly exhausted but determined. "We need to get back to Neo-Petra. There's still a lot to rebuild." Dr. Alara carefully stowed the artifact, its glow now gentle. "This device might help in healing the scars left by the entity. We can study it, understand its origins better." As they navigated back through the tunnels, Elisa kept a close watch on Horus. "Do you think you'll be okay?" she asked, her voice gentle but firm. Horus nodded slowly, though uncertainty clouded his face. "With time and help, perhaps. But the true enemy is still out there." Zeke's eyes widened, tapping on his tablet. "The chamber's data suggests the source of the entity wasn't destroyed, just its link to you severed. We must be prepared for its return." Back in Neo-Petra, the city's spirit mirrored that of its people, resilient and unbroken. Smoke lifted slowly, revealing pockets of survivors working together to rebuild. Mark stood at the edge of the city, observing the reconstruction efforts with a heavy heart. "Our work begins now," he murmured. Elisa joined him, setting her gadget down. "We'll rebuild," she said confidently. "We always do." Dr. Alara approached, holding the artifact with reverence. "This needs to be studied in depth. We need to understand its full potential and safeguard it." Horus stepped forward, visibly weary but resolute. "I will assist in any way I can. We must unify against the greater threat. Our battles are not merely physical, but also of the spirit and mind." Zeke looked up from his tablet, determination in his eyes. "And I'll continue to dig through the data. We need every advantage we can get." Mark nodded, feeling the weight of new responsibilities. "First, we rebuild our home. Then we prepare for what's to come. We've seen what unity and resilience can achieve. Let's harness that." As they stood together, the setting sun casting long shadows over Neo-Petra, a sense of hope and unity filled the air. They were preparing for a new chapter, armed with knowledge and strengthened by their bond. The true battle had only just begun, but they were ready to face it, united and unbroken.